This is the Hidden Killers Podcast with Tony Bruschi.
Featuring defense attorney, Hidden Killers daily contributor, and host of the Defense Diaries podcast, Bob Motta.
Another interesting piece from this week where we're talking about some forensic information. The dog. There was, of course, question about the dog. What happened with the dog? And did the dog attack John O'Keefe? Certainly there wasn't injuries that would be fatal from a dog on him. But there's questions about the dog. And was he involved in some way, shape, or form? This is Terry Kahn, a vet scientist at UC Davis, talking about the fact that there was no dog DNA found on John O'Keefe. Let's take a look.
Certain dyes inhibit.
Yes.
And certainly blood inhibits.
Heme from blood, yes.
And because of that, at least in that sample, the nuclear DNA sample, you're not saying that there was no canine DNA there. You're saying that the testing did not detect it.
In the qPCR nuclear test, correct.
And you've heard, obviously, there's a sort of a famous quote in science that the absence of evidence is not evidence of absence, right?
Correct.
Can you describe for the jurors what that phrase means?
Objection.
Sustained.
It means just because you don't find something means it's not there.
Objection.
Sustained.
You were able to detect the presence of pig DNA.
Correct.
And I think you said on direct examination that that could come from a number of sources, including food sources, right?
Correct.
Could come from dog treats.
Pardon me? Yes.
Could come from dog treats. Matter of fact, there are dog treats that are pig ears, literally. Right?
Objection.
Allow it?
Is that right?
I believe so.
Or it could be that the shirt that was the source material was contaminated and not properly preserved.
I can't say where that DNA came from.
You're not aware of any feral pig populations in Massachusetts, are you?
I'm not.
Dog saliva would obviously be a good and a rich source of DNA, correct? You'd agree?
It depends on the context. We have cases where, I can refer to 2 cases that we did recently where there was small bites and we were able to get nuclear DNA from those sources.
Probably saliva.
Yes.
Right. So saliva contains active, living, growing cells that slough off in the salivating process, right?
Correct.
That's raw hell.
For the nuclear test, yes.
Thanks. That's all I have.
Hey, Mr. Lally.
So, no dog DNA, pig DNA, and ruling out feral pigs. Is it dog treats that were picked up or what? It seems like a big kind of nothing burger there.
It's a huge nothing burger, but it's a huge nothing burger to both sides.
Yeah.
Because I have no idea what they swabbed. They called her out of order. There's no photographs of where they took the swabs from. In my world, and the defense was fighting vehemently to get the clothing so that they could send it to their own DNA experts. You don't know what they swabbed.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
She's not saying that. Remember, they didn't swab John O'Keefe's body. They swabbed the shirt that he's wearing.
Yeah.
And I don't know where they swabbed on that shirt. Who's to say that? There's no evidence of where they swabbed, and she had it wasn't indicated in her report. We took this swab from the rip marks in John O'Keefe's right sleeve or left sleeve, whatever the case may be. We have no clue. To me, it didn't help the state. People that don't understand DNA were like, oh, no dog DNA. I'm like, so what?
Yeah.
I'm like, the best evidence would have been to send the whole shirt to the lab and let them really test it.
What is the argument with the dog? It's like there's no fatal wounds from the dog. If he did do something, there's not a whole lot he did, quite honestly. So
I think the dog puts him in the house, or on the property somewhere, either in the backyard or in the house.
Or someone let the dog out to use the bathroom, and maybe the dog went over while John O'Keefe is laying in the snow and, did something there. There's a lot of possibilities there.
Yeah. I think Brian Albert's testimony is they did let the dog out. They typically let it out in the fenced off backyard, so they wouldn't let it out in the front. But, I think that from the defensive side of it, the implication has always been that those wounds are more consistent with an animal attack than a motor vehicle collision or accident. And, in their minds, that puts O'Keefe in the house or in the backyard. Yeah. So, to me, if we were sitting there, if they had sent the whole shirt right?
Mhm.
And she came back and said, yes, I found dog DNA. We wouldn't be saying, what does the dog have to do with it?
Yeah.
Right. We'd be saying, well, clearly John O'Keefe was either in the house or in the backyard, wherever Chloe was. That's where he was. And it changes things quite a bit. I just don't know how much it helped either side. I don't think it hurt the defense because, again, like, we just don't know what they tested.
Yeah.
Like, in terms of those swabs, all that DNA expert could say is that the 2 swabs that you sent me did not have canine DNA.
Yeah.
That's it. And it's not like they swabbed John's arm.
No.
Like, if they swabbed John's arm, that's much more powerful evidence, right? That's like, okay, well, there you go. Like, the dog definitely didn't bite him. Like, I don't know whether or not claw marks leaves DNA. Like if a dog, like clearly, if Chloe was still around and had they gone in and done the investigation properly, and said, okay, well, like, these injuries look pretty weird on the arm. I don't know how they would get there. Like a normal cop would have looked at it and been like, oh, I'm no doctor, but those kind of look like scratches. You have a big shepherd. Let's muzzle the dog and let me check under the dog's like claws and see if it's got any of like human flesh under there. None of that happened. Like, to me, people, and there's 2 very divided camps on this thing, right? There's the free Karen Reed people, and there's the Karen Reed is guilty people who are warring with each other.
Yeah.
Like warring. Like, I got sucked into it yesterday because I going into the trial, I'm like, I could buy the defense's theory. Like this is what they're saying. Like, and I'm more inclined to think that that's what happened than he got hit. Like, those injuries, like no injuries on his torso. But now that I've heard the evidence, and I always say it, but that's all subject to trial and to the evidence being vetted. Now that I've seen, like, the witnesses start coming on, I feel like you do. Like, I don't feel like these people are out and out lying. I don't think that they all are able to sit up on the stand and make up like this story and stick to it, that John O'Keefe never came in the house. That's why I'm like, I don't think either thing happened. I think that there's a plausible 3rd explanation or 4th. There's another theory. Like, the thing that people forget is that Lally wasn't there. Proctor wasn't there. None of law enforcement was there when this went down, and neither were Jackson or Yanetti. Yeah. Like, what they have are theories, and that's all they are. Yeah. And to say that those 2 theories exclude all other possibilities is just inaccurate.
Well, it's being looked at as such black and white from each camp, and that's the problem. It's like there's just blinders. There's a gray area here. And this is
every case has gray areas.
This is so gray.
Every circumstantial case has gray areas. Every one of them. And, like, if I had this case, like, my wife and I during our live yesterday was like, if on the defense, being that the state has elected to put on their rebuttal case as their case in chief, I'm turning around and I'm not putting any evidence on of third-party culprits because it'll completely screw Lally over. Like, everything that he's done for the first 2.5 weeks will mean nothing. Like, literally, I don't even know. It's actually a brilliant strategic move, because then that's going to leave the jury with like, what in the hell?
That's a goal
here for the first 2. It's a great strategy.
Confuse.
Yeah.
Sick of the ads?
We are too.
Start listening with no commercials now and get access to all of our episodes in advance of everyone else.
Become a True Crime Today Premium Plus subscriber on Apple Podcasts.
Search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts or go to our podcast page and sign up now.
True Crime Today Premium Plus.
Sign up now.